Hey, honey,
Yes, Barry?
let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin ti naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler. I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants. Those are the Lapa Lapa, Puerto Vallarta's oldest restaurant on the famous Los Muertos Beach, and the El Dorado Restaurant and Beach Club right next door. So you can enjoy that fantastic view of the Los Muertos Pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors, or during the day in its grand splendor for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week we are going to go to one of my newer favorite restaurants in Puerto Vallarta. It's located in the Cinco de Diciembre neighborhood, and it is on Calle Honduras. A little bit up the street there. It's called Meño's Place. We're going to talk with the wife of Meño. Her name is Nena Baltazar Salcido. And we're going to talk about this really cool rooftop restaurant with her. Got a great view. It's got great food. But before we get to Nena, let's see what's happening in Puerto Vallarta this week, the 7th day of October, 2020. We are coming to the close of the first week of the partial shutdown that was decreed by Jalisco Governor Enrique Alfaro. And as I reported last week, the emergency button was pushed on October the 30th. Which didn't shut everything down. It just limited the nighttime activities to basically come to a close at 8:30 in the evening. That's in Puerto Vallarta. That means that the restaurants and the bars and the nightclubs and the shops that are deemed non-essential, those are required to close at 8:30. And that leaves open the little tiendas, the little corner stores, and the Oxxos and drugstores. Hospitals, of course, are open. All of the essential services are still open. The buses actually stop running at 9, so that you can't be taking buses after that time. Ubers also are supposed to quit at 9 o'clock. And taxi service actually goes on. It goes on through the night and into the morning hours, just as normal, except for limits of 3 passengers per taxi ride. Then the activities they begin again at 6 o'clock in the morning with no changes other than the required health protocols that are in place in Puerto Vallarta. That means taking temperatures when you enter businesses. That means cleaning your feet off on these little disinfectant mats. And they have the ever-present soap that you put all over your hands and that antibacterial stuff. Face masks are required outdoors, and face masks are also required in shops. You can take off your face masks when you are in restaurants, of course, and sitting at a table. You can also take off your face mask when you're on the beach or in your home or in your condo or whatever. Speaking of beaches, beaches actually close to the public during these 2 weeks at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Of course, that is just the greatest tool that they use in order to battle the Rona. That's right, get off my beach. Okay, so that is the situation on the ground in Puerto Vallarta. Actually, when I arrive tomorrow, Sunday, I'm going to be there to enjoy 6 days, 5 full days of fun in the sun and doing interviews and, of course, enjoying a partial shutdown. So anyway, that will be going on. And what will I be doing after hours, you might ask? I mean, 8:30 is still early, right? Will I just go to my humble Airbnb and, take my leftover dinner that I couldn't finish at 8:30 and big bottle of tequila and just drink myself to sleep? What do you think, huh? Nah. No. Yeah, just hop in a cab and head up to Nuevo Vallarta, where the beaches are now open. And there is no stoppage of restaurants and bars and shops at night. And it's just across the border, actually, so whatever. Anyway, I have plans to spend a little bit more time in Nuevo Vallarta this time down, unless they decide to, close the beaches again. But anyway, I'll bring you the interviews from up in the Bucerias area and above when we progress through the year, which is almost over, by the way. And, if you haven't noticed, it's almost done. And getting ready to actually start year 5 of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I mean, who could have imagined that? Speaking of taxistas, actually, there will be a bit of a rise in rates during the lockdown at night. Expect to pay a little bit more after 9 o'clock when you're traveling around town. An additional 10 pesos you'll be noticing will be tacked on to your ride. Bit of a tax, something to go to the local government for the opportunity just to annoy you just a little bit more during your vacation. But hey, come on. You're traveling right now in the middle of a pandemic. So I went in search of a travel insurance company that would include COVID in their coverage because if you remember last time, I went down and got coverage but did not get the COVID coverage. So I was just a little curious to see who covers COVID. And I see that Airlines, who I've used before, they do not. World Nomads do not. And lo and behold, I found a company called Safety Wing. And Safety Wing is used by a lot of the digital nomads that are here in Puerto Vallarta. And the coverage is pretty cheap. And it covers the Rona. And not that I'm going to need it, but just in case, I went ahead and signed up for it. Very, very cheap. Of course, I'll be bringing my drug kit with me and have a good time when I'm down in Puerto Vallarta. While I'm there, I will be interviewing an insurance agent. We'll talk about COVID, and we'll talk about the COVID coverage, but we'll also talk about other coverage that you can get when you are coming down to live in Puerto Vallarta for an extended period of time or, to move to Puerto Vallarta. It seems that winter has finally turned and arrived in paradise, according to JR, who says that the humidity level has finally come down to a bearable level just in time for my visit. Very, very exciting. And without a doubt, it will be easier to wear a face mask or some sort of a face covering in cooler weather as opposed to how it was back in August. It was really hot. It wasn't unbearable. I was actually expecting worse than that. I'm used to coming in October, and I was told that October is pretty hot. But I was actually pleased to find out that I can actually survive the heat in the summertime in August. So very cool, or very hot. Anyway, the Olas Altas Farmers Market opened today. Yay! So that's great news. They're running from 9 o'clock in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. So anyway, the farmers markets and the crafts markets, they all seem to be coming back, which of course is great news for those who actually make a living selling stuff on the farmers market circuit. So good for them. I'm glad to see that that's coming back. Speaking of that, I noticed that Licks ice cream is opening today. They're having their grand opening. Yay! Congratulations, you guys. And I'll go down there and take some pictures, and I'll talk with Todd and Kathleen when I go down, next week. I'll have a little ice cream. Why not? I planned a meet and greet. As you know, if you listened to last week's episode, We're going to be meeting where we normally meet, over at Kelly's Por Favor Saloon and Cookhouse. It's going to be Tuesday, November the 10th. This is JR's regular meet and greet day, and his regular location. But I'm just going to horn in on his action, and we will be setting up on the roof as usual. So great air circulation. We're going to have social distancing. I'll put microphones on a big long stick if you want. No, I've got all kinds of microphones. They'll be all clean and ready for you to speak into. And of course, if you are a listener to the show, you know that the open microphone meet and greet podcasts are always fun. They're always informative, and there is always a surprise guest. There's somebody there who's got the greatest information that you ever heard in Puerto Vallarta. So it's good to listen in, and I just love it when I can get a microphone in front of you listeners. So anyway, I can't wait to meet you guys. If you are in town, get over there. You are the pioneers, right? You're the trailblazers. You are the beacon of hope to your fellow lovers of Puerto Vallarta who are just waiting to be told that it's okay to travel. It's okay. It's safe. Get on a plane. Come on down. Anyway, Tuesday, November 10th at 5:30 over at Kelly's Por Favor Saloon and Cookhouse. Be there or be square. Let's talk. Let's eat. Let's drink and have a good time. And anyway, this event is going to go just till 7 because I know some of you have different dinner plans. And 8:30, as you know, is the cutoff time for that, for you to be able to take your leftovers and your bottle of tequila back to your rooms. So anyway, Tuesday, the 10th, 5:30 to 7, Kelly's Por Favor Saloon, okay? All right. What else do we need to cover? Last week, I told you about the wheelchair that I was given by the hoarding cat lady, and I'm bringing it with me on the airplane for our friend Salvador Estrada, the Candyman, who is in a wheelchair on the Malacan, and I went online just to see how Delta Airlines handles these things, and to my surprise, they don't charge me to bring a wheelchair. It's pretty cool. Now, I did have to let them know that I was bringing one, and they wanted like a 48-hour warning ahead of time, so it was a good thing I was looking at the website and checking that out. They wanted to know what the size of the chair was, the approximate weight, and if it had batteries or, if it was manual or whatever it was. Anyway, I was happy that they said no problem. So good on Delta Airlines. Very good. Now, speaking of airlines, I have news for Canadian travelers. From Vallarta Today Online, Air Canada passengers are being rapidly tested for COVID. From Santini Baracco, dated the 29th of October, 2020, Air Canada announced that it is finalizing an initial order for 2,500 Abbott Now COVID-19 ID rapid tests to be applied in a voluntary test that will help protect both its customers and its personnel. The airline, which recently partnered with McMaster Health Labs and the Greater Toronto Airport Authority, on the study for international travelers arriving in Toronto Pearson, said preliminary results of the study indicate that the tests can help protect customers and facilitate the safe relaxation of government travel restrictions. Jim Chung, Air Canada's medical director, said Air Canada continues to explore various options for testing COVID-19, and we are finalizing an initial order from Abbott for 25,000 rapid tests kits for voluntary employee testing now, and now that it has been approved for use in Canada. Understanding that we must live with this virus in the short and medium term, we have been looking for relationships and a layered approach as a way to keep our employees and customers safe. We believe that testing will be a key to protecting employees and customers until COVID vaccine is available. And he added, rapid testing is also a means to allow governments to relax current general travel restrictions and quarantine in a measured way while still safeguarding the health and the safety of the public. Preliminary results from the study in conjunction with MHL and the GTAA indicated that conducting these tests is a shorter strategy as well as an available and safe alternative to the 14-day quarantine. Air Canada is Canada's national airline. Its hub is located at Pierre Elliott Trudeau International Airport in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And the company was founded on April 10th, 1936, and is one of the founding members of the Star Alliance of airlines. So, more opportunities and incentives. I have a link to that in the show notes, by the way, from Vallarta Today Online. Thank you for that. And my main concern is that Abbott Laboratories has a tracking app, I believe, and I don't trust the tracking apps. But hey, that's just me, and that's just my tinfoil hat. You know what I mean? But anyway, good news for you Canadians. You can come to paradise, it seems, and maybe be able to skip that 14-day quarantine period, which is a huge bummer, right? But we do have some good news to report. It's also from Vallarta Today Online. They write, Puerto Vallarta goes downward in COVID cases. This also comes from Santini Baracco, dated November the 5th, 2020. First day in 6 months with no infections or deaths by the coronavirus. Calls for health sector not to lower its guard on health measures by COVID-19 last Monday, November 2nd. For the first time in 6 months, Puerto Vallarta registered 0 infections of coronavirus and 0 deaths. According to the official report of the Jalisco Secretary of Health, last May 10th had been the last day with 0 infections, COVID-19 in Puerto Vallarta, and only 1 death due to this disease has been reported. According to the state agency, Puerto Vallarta has registered a continuous decrease in coronavirus infections since the second half of August, when a total of 965 positive cases of the disease and 55 cases of death were counted. However, the state agency warns that this does not mean that we should lower our guard or neglect the preventative health measures against the coronavirus among the population. And since, on the contrary, now is when preventative actions should be reinforced to guarantee that the drop is maintained. Last night, the Secretary of Health of Jalisco reported 16 more infections and 3 deaths in Puerto Vallarta. This tourist destination has a total of 25 positive cases and 3 deaths so far this month of November. Sanitary measures, the Secretary of Health Jalisco reported in the first 72 hours after the emergency button was activated, a great majority of Jalisco residents complied with the provisions of the mechanism, and few reports were received by various municipal and health authorities regarding disrespect. As for the restrictions on operating hours, warnings and closures were limited to a few turns, since the businessmen and traders are complying with the restrictions. So, anyway, very encouraging news. Anyway, you can find a link to that article as well in the show notes from Vallarta Today. All right, enough of all this. Let's get to the interview, shall we? I travel on my stomach. I know a lot of you do too. You are lovers of Puerto Vallarta, and Vallarta is my culinary playground. And every imaginable cuisine, every price point, fresh, flavorful ingredients everywhere. I mean, it is why we come here, isn't it? And although when you are in Vallarta and you are in Mexico, it can sometimes be difficult to find a Mexican restaurant that serves traditional Mexican dishes, and I am a nut for restaurants with a view. Of course, good food, always important. In fact, it is the most important thing. But a view is an extra added bonus, especially when you're in Puerto Vallarta. And in Vallarta, of course, that can be a beachfront restaurant. It could be in a busy people-watching spot, like on the Malecon or on a sidewalk cafe kind of a situation. And, who doesn't love a view from above, like from the mountainside or from a rooftop restaurant with a view of the bay and the beautiful rustic red roof tiles of Puerto Vallarta. Anyway, this place is called Meño's Place. And Meño's is one of these, well, Meño, the name Meño is a nickname. It's short for Manuel. Just like, there's all kinds of, Lalo for Eduardo. What else do they do? They do Memo for Guillermo. So Meño is Manuel, kind of shortened up. And Manuel, or Meño, was a chef from a very famous Puerto Vallarta restaurant. He went out on his own with the encouragement of the lady who we will be talking with right now, his wife, Nena. And she and her friend encouraged Meño to open up to be a chef, right? The head chef, and open up this lovely rooftop restaurant, which is in the heart of the Cinco de Diciembre neighborhood of Puerto Vallarta. Now, Meños is located on the roof of a very, very pretty kind of an apartment, little condominium building on the corner of Calle Honduras and Bolivia. And when you arrive at the restaurant, you enter through a very, very pretty, colorful elevator lobby, which is complete with artwork and a mirror so you can, check yourself out, just make sure that your teeth are clean. You can adjust your mask. But the elevator's small, so be prepared to go up in small batches. But when you arrive to the rooftop, you will be treated with a beautiful view of the city. You get a view of the city. You get a view of the ocean, and it's just And the restaurant itself is it's colorful. It's totally Mexican. It's got this beautiful Mexican color palette, with lovely art. And it's got a big bar and a big open kitchen, and the most lovely and helpful staff. These people that Nana has working for her are so good at what they do, and they're really pleasant. And every time I go there, they're always attentive and, doing their job. And anyway, I really, really love this place. Now, my first visit there was about a year ago. I was staying at an Airbnb, which is right across the street. And every evening, music would just waft down past my window. And they were always busy, and I figured that I'd go over there and I'd try breakfast. And then, later on, I liked breakfast so much, I stopped in for lunch. And then another day, I stopped in for dinner. And every time, the food was excellent. The service was superb, and the view, of course, was just to die for. And, on that same trip, I interviewed our friend over at Leila's, right? And I asked her about some of her favorite restaurants, and she mentioned Nena and Meño's place. So I made it a mission to get back and to see if these nice people would actually talk to me. And guess what? They said yes. So let's go. Let's go right now to Calle Honduras 348. And let's meet the Queen of Nice herself, Nena Baltazar Salcedo. She is the wife of Meño, and one of the smiling faces that you'll meet when you take that elevator ride up to Meño's place in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Nena, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and what was your path that led you to Puerto Vallarta?
Okay, I'm from Jalisco. I was born and raised in a little town called Yerba Buena. It's 2 hours away from Puerto Vallarta.
Uh-huh.
And what made me come here? Well, when I was 18 years old, I moved to U.S., and I lived there for almost 30 years. And I moved to Puerto Vallarta 7 years ago. I love this place, and that's why I'm here.
Excellent, yes. Tell us a little bit about Meño's place. What was here before? How long have you been here?
The restaurant has been a year and a half.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
What were you doing before you came to build a restaurant?
What was I doing? I was living in U.S., working in a hospital. But then I used to travel all the time to Puerto Vallarta, and I found it's a very nice place to live.
Yeah.
And I decided to move here and start this business in here.
Excellent. All right. So, where Meño's place is sitting on top of, what is this, a condo? What is this here?
This condominiums or apartamentos, they call them departments.
Okay. All right. And what was here before you built your restaurant? Was there anything here?
No, just a terrace.
All right.
Nothing.
So, what made you choose this place?
I like the view, and I wanted to have a restaurant with a nice view because I know that people like to see the ocean view.
Yeah, you got a gorgeous view. Oh my goodness, I'm looking at a sunset getting ready right now.
We have the best sunset.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what kind of a menu do you have here at Meño's? Do you do breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
We have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Our menu is, we have a breakfast menu. Breakfast menu is one, and the lunch and dinner is another one.
Okay. And what time do you open?
We open at 8 o'clock in the morning and close at 11 p.m.
Okay, so you're full service. You're here all the time.
We only close Monday evening, but we open for breakfast every day.
Ah, wonderful. So tell us about that breakfast menu. What's on that breakfast menu?
Oh, this is a typical restaurant. Our breakfast menu is typical Mexican food. Chilaquiles. You know what chilaquiles are, right?
Yeah, well, tell everybody. I know what chilaquiles is. It's like nachos for breakfast, right?
Yeah, something like that, but it's kind of mixed with red sauce. That's what makes chilaquiles. Instead of putting cheese, you put the red sauce in.
Excellent. Yeah, I love chilaquiles. And you do it all styles. How do you make it?
With chicken, with meat, and they come with beans. All different kinds. We have eggs, all kinds of eggs, Benedict, salmon, and all that. Pancakes. We have American breakfast also. Mexican and American breakfast.
Yeah, you have traditional both, huh?
Traditional both, yeah.
Nice. And let's talk about your lunch and dinner menus. What are they like?
For lunch, we have a lot of stuff, seafood. We also have hamburgers, rice, seafood platters. What it comes with shrimps, lobster, barbecue ribs, filet mignon, and all that.
Wow! So that's just not a mariscada. That's like a surf and turf.
Yes.
Surf
and turf. Yeah,
sounds good. And then your dinner menu is similar?
Similar. Lunch and dinner is the same.
It's the same.
You can order anything for lunch, and that's for dinner.
I had some great empanadas. You do empanadas. You do, what other kind of appetizers do you do?
Taquitos de jaiba. Do you know what the jaiba is?
Jaiba is crab, right?
Crab. Yeah, they're very good. And we have the chile relleno with seafood. It's kind of like you know what chile relleno is? That the green pepper with seafood in there and a cream sauce over. It's very delicious.
Nice.
And we also have nachos. What else do we have? We have ceviche, very good ceviche. We have the one that calls tropical ceviche. It's very good. What makes it tropical is it comes with papaya and mango. And you put some coconut flakes in there. That's what calls it tropical.
That sounds delicious.
Delicious. Yeah.
Wow. And then you have salads, you have soups.
We have the what do you call this soup? Clam chowder soup. We have clam chowder soup.
You have
very
clam
good.
chowder?
Very delicious.
Really?
I should give you one to try. And we
Your
also
empanadas
have
were great,
the
by the way.
biscuit soup. The biscuit, lobster biscuit.
Oh, lobster biscuit. Okay.
It's delicious also. And we make it right here from scratch.
Nice. And then do you do salads?
And we have also salads. We have salads. And what else do we have? We're specialized in barbecue ribs.
Really?
Oh yes, our
Who
barbecue
knew?
ribs are the best in town. They're we also have the twice baked potato.
Okay.
The best twice baked potato. We have a grill and we have the ribs here every day.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Note taken, everybody.
The guy that makes our ribs, he's been making ribs for the past 40 years. He's almost 60-something. He's been making ribs for the past 40 years.
He's been doing it since he was a baby, or at least
Yeah.
20 years old, something like that. Wow. Okay. And then your main dishes. Or you have anything that's particular to the house, like a special of the house or anything like that?
Here in the evening, the main dishes are the seafood platters.
It is. That's the major draw.
And the barbecue ribs. Those are the main things.
Those are the big ones.
And we have also the Mexican plate. It's very good. It comes with carne asada, which is beef flake, quesadilla, chile relleno. No, that's the Mexican plate. That's what they call.
Yeah, and I'll bet
Yeah.
that's pretty popular too.
Very popular. Very popular.
And you've got a full bar?
The bar is complete. Oh, we have the best margaritas. We have tamarindo margaritas.
No,
We
all right.
have the passion fruit margaritas, martinis. We have all kinds of drinks.
Excellent. How did the name come about? Who's Meño?
Meño is my husband. The name came about because when my husband family had a restaurant that calls Café de Olla, which I'm pretty sure that you know.
Yeah, sure. Very
And
famous.
he was very young when him and his uncle opened that restaurant. And then 7 years ago, when I decided to move to Mexico and reunite with him after, he was my high school sweetheart. After 26 years, we got together again. And I saw him working more than 30 years in there. And I said to him, you know what? Why don't you open up a restaurant? I had no idea about restaurant because I always work in hospitals. Totally different, but I knew very good about service. One thing I do, service. Service is my priority. One thing I learned about you is service, and clients. Clients always first. Customers always first, right?
Yeah.
And we decided, that's what I told my husband, why don't you open one restaurant? He said, no. I said, well, are you going to stay all your life there, 30 years? Why don't you become an owner, right? And then my husband said, no. And I said, you know what? We're going to do something. And my cousin that owns that hotel, she said to me one day, why don't you and Manuel open a restaurant? And then I said, well, yes. And I asked my husband, I said, well, I've been in, he was stuck 30 years in
Café de Olla.
And then he said, do you want to do it? He said, no, just you and her do it. You and your cousin. And then and we said, no. We want you to do it because everybody knows Meño. Whoever comes to Vallarta and doesn't know Meño, doesn't know Vallarta. That's how they call it. Whoever comes, because he's well known.
Yeah.
He's a
so Manuel,
soccer player.
So is Meño is short for Manuel?
A nickname.
It's a nickname.
Short for Manuel. So I decided to put the name because I know that everybody knows Meño.
And they know him because
he's a
the Café de
soccer
Olla.
player. He's a very nice guy, well known. I think he's one of the most wonderful persons. Not only because he's my husband, but you can ask anybody that knows Meño, they will say the best man.
Yeah.
For real, the best man. So we decided to put the name. And he said, no, don't put my name. And me and my cousin said, yes, because your name is everybody says Meño. Oh, let's go to Meños. And I just add Meño's Place.
That's wonderful.
I won't
Now,
put anything.
you say he was a soccer player?
He used to play soccer since he was very young. So he knows so many people in here, and people knows him a lot because Manuel was not born in Puerto Vallarta. He was born in close to my little town in Mascota, 30 minutes away from there. And he came here, he moved here when he was 12 years, and then went back when he was 15, and then after that he was living most of his life in here. So he's well known. He knows how Puerto Vallarta was before. Nothing was in here. He knows.
He knows it from a long time ago.
Yeah, and when we opened the restaurant, everybody said, well, Meño. Everybody was just so happy to see Meño.
Yeah.
And that's how the name came out. I decided to put that name, even though he didn't want it, because he was like, Meño. I said, yeah, everybody knows you.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to go follow Meño.
It rolls off your tongue. It's perfect, Meño.
The
Meño.
word is...
Yeah, it's a
And
great
then-
name.
And then when we first opened, now because of the pandemic, when we first opened, everybody, Meño's here. You can come in the morning, and if you see anybody, most of the people knows him. That's well known. He's well known because of the way how he is. He's very charismatic.
Charismatic?
Yes, very charismatic, very gentle, very helpful, very good man.
Excellent.
He's happy where he's at. He couldn't believe it. He said, you put me into this. I said, yeah, because I know that you have to live there. It was time for you to do your own.
Yeah. Wow. Tell me a little bit about your staff. How are they?
We are 28 total
Wow.
workers. And they're very good workers. We're like a family here. I don't treat them as workers. I treat them as a family. During this pandemic, this is a hotel, right? It's got like condominium. We all stay here and we live here, and nobody
Really?
goes home. And we stay here we've been staying here for the past 4 months.
Wow.
I don't know, but we're here, day and night. So we see each other as a family now.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty interesting. I can't imagine actually, but
Yeah,
it's
they all
happening.
stay here with me. We've been surviving this pandemic.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, what kind of desserts do you have?
We have the flan, homemade flan. We make the flan here. We have the crepas, all kinds of crepas. We also have seafood crepas. How do you call crepas?
Yeah, crepes. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
seafood crepes.
Very good.
Nice.
We have the plantain.
Like a fried plantain.
Yes.
I love that
The
stuff.
fried and the flame.
Oh, flambe.
Flame.
Yeah. Yum. You're making me hungry.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We have everything here. We're not Italian, but we also have good pasta.
Yeah? Oh, yeah. I saw that on the menu.
Yeah, the pastas are very good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, let's go outside of Meños just for a minute. Let's go out into Puerto Vallarta. Now, usually I ask people for their favorite lunch and dinner and lunch breakfast places, but I'm not going to ask you because you serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so
Yes.
we're not going there.
Yes.
But what I'm going to ask you is, if you were going to be leaving town for a day and going somewhere and coming back the same day, where would you go?
Oh, I would go to a town called Mascota, and also my hometown, which is next to this, like 1 mile away, a mile and a half.
Yerba
It is
Buena is
called
just a
Yerba
mile away?
Buena.
Oh.
It's a very nice, clean, beautiful place.
Yeah, so that's where you'd go. You go back
I would
home
go
and
the same day. It takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours. It depends on how the weather is and the traffic. It takes me like an hour and a half. I can go in the morning at 8 o'clock, leave there at 10 and leave home 6 o'clock, and I'm there the whole day.
wow, that's great.
It's very close. It's like 90 kilometers from here. I would say like 45 miles, something like that.
Yeah. Wow, okay. Now tell us a little bit about Mascota.
Mascota is a very nice place, quiet, a lot of history in Mascota. We have a lot of, they say a lot of history about the Spaniards. Spaniards used to live in, and our houses are like Spaniard houses, the big roof, big windows.
Uh-huh.
And we have the plaza. We have live music every day with bands and all that. People walks around the plaza, and that's what the years ago. It's not anymore. That's when you used to meet your boyfriend or your girlfriend in La Plaza.
Yeah, yeah. And now they just meet over on the Malecon over here, right?
Yeah, they meet in the Malecon. What would they say? It's not too many jobs, but people lives out of restaurants, business. They have harvest corn, what would I say?
Yeah.
I say how it's
Uh-huh.
called.
Uh-huh.
And chiles, a lot of chiles. They live out of that. Most of the times, people that live there is retired people.
Okay. You go to Mascota to retire.
Yeah,
They have any
Yeah.
hospitals in Mascota?
they have one for emergency, and it's very good. It's
Okay.
only one hospital that they have, but they can take care of small surgery or something. If not, the ambulance will bring them to Puerto Vallarta. It
Yeah.
depends. If it's very serious, they'll call a helicopter. They travel.
Zap them over to Vallarta.
Yeah.
What if you had 3 days? Where would you go if you had 3 days?
Oh, 3 days I would go, first of all, I would go to Mascota, then move around to Talpa. Talpa is a very good town. And then there's another town that calls Navidad. Beautiful place. You will love it.
Yeah. Tell us about Navidad.
Navidad is like Feliz Navidad, right?
Uh-huh.
It's a small town. Not it's very few houses because most of it's a lonely town. You go there and you don't see like 2 or 3 people on the plaza, in the church, the plaza and the church. And people are not, they all live in U.S. and they only come during July and December vacation, those days. Other than that, it's a lonely place, but it's a very beautiful place to relax.
Sounds lovely. Navidad.
Yeah. Navidad. It's 45 minutes away from Yerba Buena.
How many people live in Navidad, you know?
I would say no more than 800 people.
A little
Way less. I would
Tiny
say
town. And then Talpa? How many in Talpa?
Talpa is big.
Is it?
It's not that big, but so many people. There's a lot of business in Talpa because we have a Virgin, the Rosario,
Okay.
the Virgin, and a lot of people believes in that. And a lot of people visit Talpa. There's a lot of business in there. They make the guava dessert. Have you tried those guava rolls and all that?
Yeah, I sure
That's what
have.
they make them.
And that comes from Talpa? I have a friend in Durango.
And people come from all over Mexico to visit the Virgin.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of business to live in Talpa.
Yeah, there must be.
A lot, yeah.
So it's a big town.
It's not too big. Mascota is bigger, but Talpa has more power because it has so many business in
Yeah.
there. So many people
They're
visit
active.
Talpa.
Yeah.
You can go to Talpa and see people from all over Mexico. They have so much belief in the Virgin, so it gets visit all year round. There's so people that comes to Puerto Vallarta to vacation. They say, "Oh, I'm gonna go to Talpa. I'm gonna go see the Virgin." They all believe in that Virgin.
Excellent. Wow. All right.
It's a famous Virgin.
Lucky them.
Yes,
Yeah.
they get visit from all over. It's a very rich little town.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you guys thought about maybe stealing the Virgin and bringing it down here to Puerto Vallarta?
Yes. They said years ago, my mother used to tell me that the Virgin was, somebody took the Virgin, removed the Virgin from Talpa and brought it to Mascota. And the Virgin says, no, this is not Mascota, and walked by to Talpa. That's how I believe
That's
that.
the story.
That's the story.
All right,
Who
well-
knows if it's true or not?
Well, who are we to not believe that story?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Good thing to say. Who are we not to believe?
That's
Yeah.
right. Who knew? Who? Look at that. A beautiful sunset.
The beautiful sunset. Yeah.
Incredible.
You see the ship over there?
Yeah, I see the pirate ship out there.
The pirate.
The Margalante.
Marigalante, yeah.
Yeah. If you had a word of advice for a first-time visitor to Puerto Vallarta, what would it be?
The first time visit, it's good to come and visit Puerto Vallarta downtown. Don't go to all-inclusive places because you're just going to get stuck in there and you're going to just get up, go to the swimming pool or go eat. That's all you do. Eat, sleep, and go swimming. Or go to the beach if it's a beach there. But if you stay in downtown, you have more places to visit. You
right.
can walk around, discover what is Puerto Vallarta, the town, the small restaurant, the hotels, everything. You get to see everything. But if you stay in an all-inclusive, you're just stuck in there for the rest of your vacation. It's just like you're going nowhere. You just like stay in the U.S.,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And
That's
you
my
won't-
belief. I always say that.
Well, you won't get as good of food, and that's I.
Of course,
I tell
the
everybody
hotels
that.
are 5 stars. have all kinds of food, but you really don't get to see the really typical Mexican food.
Yeah.
Like if you're in downtown, you can say, "Oh, girl, let's go to Meño's place." You get to see that, right?
That's right. You have to say that. And we're going to say that too.
Yeah.
And you do. You have to go to Meño's because the view is beautiful and the food is delicious.
The food is delicious for sure.
And the space is really, really nice.
And yes, and we had the best coffee, and we also had the homemade tortillas. I have someone that makes tortillas every day.
Wow. Okay. Homemade tortillas. That's a key. That's a key, definitely.
Homemade tortillas here every day. Yeah.
Do you have a word of warning for somebody who's coming to Puerto Vallarta?
Warning?
Yeah.
About safety or about...
Maybe. Yeah.
About safety? Okay, yes. It's good when you come here not to trust everyone. Be aware of your surroundings. Check when you walk. I've been living here for the past 7 years. Nothing has happened to me. But it can happen if you're not careful, right?
Yeah.
Don't be too trustful.
Okay.
I mean, be nice to everyone, but don't be too trustful. Don't walk around the dark areas. Always follow what the lights are and what the traffic area streets. Don't go to the lonely streets where it's dark and all that.
Yeah.
I always tell everybody that because you never know what's behind you or what somebody's hiding it under the car or something, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's me.
That's a good.
And then if you're gonna go,
advice.
don't take your documents with you. Put them in your safe. Walk around and take the money that you're gonna use. Don't use all your credit cards and all that.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Also, I always tell my listeners that if you take your credit, your driver's license and your passport, and you make black and white copies of them,
Yes.
you
Have a
can
copy.
carry that around with you. But the originals always leave in a very safe space.
Yes. It's a good idea to take copies of you.
Yeah.
Important documents.
Yeah, because if they ask you for your documents and you don't have any, then that could be trouble too. So always carry some black and white copies of those things.
And then
don't make them color because they're considered to be counterfeit if you make it color. So make sure that you keep them in black and white.
And be very careful what people offers you on the street, and also what you're gonna eat on the street, and what are you gonna drink. Be careful with the drinks.
Yeah.
Right?
Watch your drinks.
Watch your drinks. If you're in restaurants, it's pretty safe. But if you go to a bar at nighttime, don't never get up and leave your drink on the table. You drink it or when you come back, don't drink it.
Right. Take it with you. If you got to go to the bathroom, go take your drink with you to the bathroom.
Yeah, take it with you. It's safer than.
Yeah, safer than leaving it on a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, Puerto Vallarta is pretty safe. I feel pretty safe for the past 7 years, but I don't know.
I've always found it to be very safe. But you're absolutely right. You have to be very careful who you trust.
Yes.
You're just running into somebody on vacation, and you easily can say, "Yeah, sure, you're a nice guy,"
yeah.
but you have no idea
You don't
about some
trust
people.
You don't just go with someone that you don't trust.
Exactly.
At this point, you cannot trust anybody.
For
That's
sure.
how life is.
Yeah.
You can't.
Let's come back here to Meños.
Uh-huh.
Was it difficult to build this place?
No, not at all.
Went very
was-
easily.
Built in 6 months.
Ah,
Took me 6 months.
well, it's a beautiful space. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful space. You got music here. You got music just about every night. What do you have going on here?
It's Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, 3 days a week.
Okay.
It
yeah.
depends. During the high season, every day.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be seeing you during high season. Is there anything I forgot? Is there something that you wanted to add?
I think we mostly cover everything, right?
I think we did.
Just when you come to Puerto Vallarta, come to Meños.
That's exactly right. And do you have a Facebook page? Do you have a website?
Yeah, we have the Facebook, then we have the website.
Okay, very good. All right, well, I'll have links to that. You can find them in the show notes at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. And I'll have a map that'll take you right to the front door of Meño's place, and a picture of the restaurant and some food and the view and all that other great stuff.
And everybody gets free drinks at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah? Is that what happens?
We have a courtesy of tequila or anything you want.
See that? There you go. You
Something
can't.
that no restaurant does about us.
There you go.
And
See?
that comes from Meño, the owner.
That's wonderful. Well, I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for inviting me to your lovely restaurant, to Meño's place, your husband's namesake, and thank you very much for allowing me to introduce you and your restaurant to my listeners. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for the interview. It was nice, and for taking your time and come here and introduce my restaurant to other travelers.
Excellent.
It's a pleasure to take care of you, and I hope it will not be the first time.
Excellent. All right. Everybody come to Meño's place. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Nina. What a nice lady. She is amazing. Anyway, she's concerned about her clients. You can tell she's very concerned about her staff. She loves everybody. She loves them all. And they're just one big happy family. And anyhow, a great little story. Make sure you get over to Meño's next time you're in Paradise. The breakfast is great. Lunch, dinner, whatever you like. It's a pleasant place just to sit down and catch a sunset or get a nice fresh morning breeze overlooking the town, the bay, the red tile roofs. It's just a great, great place. You must try it, and I guarantee you will not be disappointed. I have pictures, and I have links, and I have maps, everything that you need right there in the show notes at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. All right, well, that should do it for this week. Next week, stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports, actually really on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips, great restaurant excursion ideas, and more. And until then, remember, this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and your suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something that I should be talking about, please reach out to me and click on the Contact Us tab and send us a message. And remember, if you're considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you must go to vallartainfo.com. That's JR's website. Reserve your tour through him right from his website. Remember, this is a value for value proposition. His experience and his on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta. In exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway, you're just doing it through him. It's a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you were going to use someone else, so do it, really. And when you do take one of those tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget, he's got his maps, his DIY tours, his revitalized happy hour board, and more. And I have links to all of those in the show notes. And once again, if you like this podcast, please take some time, subscribe to it, give me a good review, tell a friend, share it with a friend. That way we can get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Remember, I made it easy for you to do just that with each episode I create. But if you haven't been to my website, really, you can have a look there. I have links to the places we talk about. I have interesting pictures and more right there in my blog posts and in the show notes for each episode of the show. So check them out for sure if you haven't already. All right? All right. Thank you, Nina Baltazar Salcido of Meño's Place. Remember, I have maps, I have links, I have pictures in the show notes. Get over there for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Discover what genuine Mexican cuisine is really all about. It's a beautiful setting. We'll be going back again and again. Trust me, okay? Hey, thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler signing off with a wish for you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
solo camino eterno por la playa. Me encuentro junto al río cuando todo está en calma. Pronto cae la noche, me brillas Puerto Vallarta.